So how can you escape the rat race? Firstly, let's define the rat race, and then I'll explain how you can escape it and kind of be free, have more freedom of choice, and you can decide what you do. So firstly, the rat race is essentially a description of the system where you work for somebody else and you have to do what they say, and you have most of your time kind of dedicated towards building their company or working for them. This, for some reason, is the main setup that we have now. People are expected to work full-time, 40 hours, 50, 60 hours a week for somebody else. And when you think about it, that is kind of a strange arrangement. I mean, why have we decided that it's, in order to get a salary, you have to get a full-time job? Why can we not work for 1 hour a day, or 1 hour every other day, or 2 hours a week? And this is one of the reasons I love working for myself, because I can generate value in, let's say if I can generate a lot of value in 2 hours by making a video course or an article, ebook, whatever it is, then I get rewarded for that value. And it's not based on my time, it's just based on how valuable I contribute to the world, like the value I bring to people. So how can you escape the rat race? Well, the best, and in my opinion, at this point in time, the most effective way is to generate passive income. And the best way of doing that is to turn the knowledge or experience that you have into a product, ideally a digital product like an ebook, a course, an audio program, something like that. It's very easy to do, and you don't need really any experience to do it, because you can simply use your laptop that you already have. You already have a phone, so you already have the tools that you need to film videos, record audio, and make an ebook. You already have this stuff. And the chances are, let's say if you have a laptop, you already have a word processor, so therefore you can make an ebook. And it's just really a case of just doing it. And an interesting thing that I was thinking about recently, right, is, with kind of the last few years, there's been all these kind of crazy restrictions and mandates and all of this stuff. Imagine if you had spent 60 years or 70 years or whatever it is, right, working full time for somebody else, and you retired 2 years ago at the start of all this, right? So your retirement was 2 years ago. So imagine you'd built up all this money and savings, and you'd worked really hard for your whole life, and you'd saved every penny for your retirement. You retired 2 years ago, and then hold on a second, you're not allowed to travel. Everything's closed. The government have decided that you are not able to, leave your country, for example, right? Imagine if that was your situation. You had just retired. How much that would suck. You had become an elderly person, given essentially your best years to a company or to other people, and in the hopes that when you retire you can then finally enjoy your life, and then this happens. Really, this should serve, in my opinion, as a warning to everybody that you should be enjoying your life now. Whenever you're watching this, you should be enjoying every moment of your life right now, because you have no idea what will happen in the future. You could be in a car accident, you could be imposed restrictions upon in the future by some future tyranny. I mean, who knows what would happen? Anything could literally happen. So there's no point, in my opinion, to wait until you're 60 or 70 to then enjoy your retirement, especially when, and I'm going to get on to telling you about why. So at the moment, if you live in a Western country, so let's say a European nation, the US, Canada, Australia, these kind of places, chances are your cost of living is quite high relative to your income. And compared to other countries in the world, especially places like the US and, Australia, the cost of living is so high that it's very hard to make ends meet. So let's say if you had a remote job, okay, that's fine. That's a step in the right direction, because you now can control where you are to some degree. But let's say you had a remote job. Your cost of living is still high if you are in those places. However, if you have a remote job within, certain parameters, like obviously if you have a family, it's a bit harder, but it's still possible. If you have a remote working job, you can move to a cheaper country and keep your remote job, and then now you have a very low cost of living and a relatively high income. So imagine if you have like $3,000 or $4,000 a month income and you live in the US. If you move that to Thailand, suddenly you're living like a very luxurious lifestyle, and the cost of living is very low. Now, not everybody can do this, obviously, but I'm just kind of planting a seed. It's a possibility. You could do that if you wanted to do that. And that's, in my opinion, one way to kind of escape or, go towards escaping the rat race. If you were living in Thailand and you had a remote job paying you in dollars for a US company, you wouldn't need to work full time. And that's another example of how it can enable you to become more free. You wouldn't need to work 40 or 50 hours a week, because the income you would get from working, let's say 10 hours a week, would cover your costs in Thailand. More than cover your costs, in fact. It would actually give you enough to live quite a happy and luxurious lifestyle. I mean, Thailand's probably a bad example at the moment because they've been very restrictive. You probably, at the time of recording this, you can't actually get in anyway. But what I'm saying is there are countries out there which have a very low cost of living, which you could potentially move to. I mean, assuming you don't have a lot of roots or things tying you to your home country, you could move there. Or you could at least make a plan to move towards moving there. But, in my opinion, if you want to escape the matrix and the rat race, the best step in the right direction is to go from working in an office to working from home. This is really good. You know, if you're doing that, that's definitely a step in the right direction, because then you have more freedom. You can kind of be more flexible with your hours. You don't have to be glued to your desk all day. You can kind of walk around, and you can at least kind of get the sense of what it's like to be remote working in other countries. You could potentially go on trips and continue working from your hotel, from your Airbnb, that kind of thing. The next step, in my opinion, would be in your free time to build your own business on the side. And this is very easy to learn. It might sound overwhelming, but the chances are you know something about something, right? You have knowledge or a passion about a certain topic. Could be literally anything. There's ways to monetize that. You can make videos, you can write articles, there's hundreds of ways literally to make an income, passive income online from something you love doing, even if it's just something you like talking about. And I do have other videos about this. I'm going to have a full masterclass here on YouTube talking about this, but I just want to plant the seed for the moment and just tell you that it's at least possible. So let me know what you think in the comments, and let me know if you are, moving towards doing this, or if you're not, maybe leave a comment saying why.